Team edged Grenada 1-0 in an internationally football friendly at the Warner Park on Saturday night. Romario Martin was the difference maker in the 60th minute after he pounced on a defensive error by Grenada inside the 18-yard box. He pulled off a shot that, though hitting the hands of the goalkeeper Jason Belfon, still bounced into the back of the net to give the home side the lead. It was a strategic move by St. Kitts Nevis coach Jacques Passy, as Martin had entered the game to replace Keon FC striker Carlos Bertie. Grenada created few chances in the second half, but were under much pressure from St. Kitts that constantly pressed the ball up the pitch and could have been 2-0 up early in the second half. For Coach Passy, his team followed the game plan and he is very pleased with their performance.
In football, what you want is for teams to follow a game plan. And the game plan today was executed perfectly. I think that the performance is absolutely incredible, because the easy thing to say is we missed 6 goals. Yeah, you're right. But at the end of the day, as a coach, I cannot be so superficial. I have to see the broader picture, and the broader picture speaks of an extraordinary performance. The game plan for tonight was not miss a ball in the midfield, pressure with 3 up top, and whenever we were pressuring, 7 create a block on the back. When we recover the ball, counter them, and it worked perfectly well.
Now, talk about the progress of the team. I mean, you've gotten some really good results of recent time. Not enough matches in between, but still good results. What does this mean for the team going forward as you prepare for a competition here?
I sincerely think that at this moment, the team can compete anywhere. Because, you know, the performance of today is not a coincidence. It's a result of being in India. It's a result of being in Europe. So I hope that fans appreciate that.
Coach Anthony Modest of Grenada, while disappointed with the loss, was pleased with the effort from his team, considering they are mostly locally based players.
First of all, I have to give hats off to the team, because it's an all-local team. It's a team we're trying to build, and I thought they did very well coming to St. Kitts. Some of them is their first game, and we had good performances, that things we can build on as a team. Unfortunately, the goal that scored on us, it happens at times, ball hit there, here and there, defenders slipping. But all in all, I thought we gave a good performance of ourselves.
What we gather from this performance that you can use going forward? I mean, you say you're preparing an all-local team.
Well, we have youths there that can take telling. Youths that are willing to be coached, and youths that are willing to die for Grenada. And if you looked at the game, the last 20 to 15 minutes, you could have seen the guys working extremely hard trying to get back into the game. And once you have the fighting spirit and you have people willing to work for the team, all would go well for us.
The international friendly marks the end of a 2-week break in the SKNFA National Bank Premier League, which resumes this weekend with the final matches in round 1. Just before the 2017 Carnival Cup. On Saturday, December 9th at 4 p.m. we'll see Sol Allen Autoconnery taking on St. Thomas Trinity United. At 6 p.m., Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs will play TGE Diabe Eagles. And at 8 p.m., Flow 4GK and Rockets play Rams Village Superstars. On Sunday, December 10th at 5 p.m., Winner Circle Newtown United will play Elk Limited St. Peters, and at 7 p.m., SL Horsford St. Paul's United playing Fast Cash. Are investigating a report by Sharon Brantley, wife of Deputy Premier Mark Brantley, that an unmanned drone was spotted hovering feet away from their family home in Montpellier. Police have arrested Matthew Macmillan for questioning regarding the matter. He was released late Monday. SK Newsline understands Mr. Macmillan was arrested at the Vance Hammer International Airport, seemingly on his way off the island. In an interview with SK Newsline, Mr. Brantley said the incident is political.
Well, my wife reported to me that this drone was hovering literally over her head at our home. We live in Montpellier, the home that clearly we share with my wife, family home, and our children. And it created quite some deep concern for me that clearly some agent or agents were seeking to invade the privacy and the sanctity of my home. It is clearly political, because I have enough anecdotal evidence to understand who did it. But the concern that I have is that we need to nip this in the bud. And we decided to make it public and report it to the police in an effort to ask people to desist from this type of behavior. Our politics has to be a politics of ideas, and a campaign that bases itself on all that you're doing rather than what we're seeing they exhibited, which is, of course, people engaging in matters that they are not to engage in. So our objective is really to appeal to our people and to say to all the political parties on all sides that we need to conduct ourselves appropriately. I don't know who's paying these individuals, but they're paid individuals who came in from overseas. I know who they are, and as I said, nobody should be subjected to that.
Are there any concerns on your part for the safety of your family and even other members of the CCM in light of this incident?
Well, I hope not, and that is why we've made it public, so that we hope that things do not escalate and we don't sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. So that is where we are at this point, and I trust and hope that it's the end of that matter.
Efforts to reach leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, Joseph Parry, were unsuccessful up to news time. However, in an interview with WinFM Tuesday, Mr. Parry admitted that Mr. Macmillan was hired as a consultant by his party to do campaign work for the elections. He said his party does not own or operate a drone, and Mr. Macmillan was hired to take photos for the campaign. Election day in Nevis is December 18th and nomination day on December 11th. Andre Huey, SKN, and Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris tabled an over $700 million budget during the presentation of the Appropriation 2018 Bill 2017 in the National Assembly on Wednesday.
Summary, this government proposes for the fiscal year 2018 to spend the sum of $706.1 million to support the implementation of the various plans and programs intended to improve delivery of public service, contribute to increasing growth in the economy, and of course, improve the quality of lives of all our citizens and residents.
The Prime Minister pointed to areas of growth in the country, but was keen to point out economic declines in the tourism sector and declines in economic growth over the last year.
In the final analysis, we are confident that the prospects for 2018 are promising, with the expectation that investments in private development projects would exceed the levels realized in 2017. A number of large-scale projects have already obtained the necessary approvals to commence construction, and some others are at various stages of review by the relevant government agencies.
The Ministry of Post and Urban Development and Transport and the Ministry of Education received the two largest budgetary allocations of $72.8 million EC dollars and $91.8 million respectively.
For the Governor, His Excellency's office, we are proposing for 2018 the sum of $2,251,346. For the Parliament work, $752,074. The Audit Office will have $1,302,843. The Ministry of Justice, Legal Affairs and Communications, $15,831,035. So that's $831,035. The Office of the Prime Minister will have $36,347,972.
The Prime Minister said the Appropriation 2018 Bill 2017 is designed to support and strengthen the implementation of various plans and programs of the government. The budget debate continues Thursday with a response from the opposition leader, Dr. Denzel Douglas. Andre Huey, SKN. 4 million new Bastyr ferry terminal officially opened on Wednesday afternoon. In a ceremony in front of the entrance of the new facility, SCASPA facility manager Mervyn Lewis told attendees that the project took 6 months to be completed and was built by the Public Works Department and local engineers. The new facility is fully air-conditioned, features a scanner to help enhance the security detail, chairs in the departure lounge, and security and ticket booths for all vessels serving the St. Kitts Nevis sea route. Mr. Lewis explained how the facility is being used.
They purchased the ticket from the window on the outside under the canopy, and they proceeded around to the entrance door, which is immediately at the western end of the building. And entering the building, they would meet the security, which would greet them and walk them through the scanning and the metal detection procedure, which is empty your pockets, all metal objects, so when declare whatever you have, and then you would physically walk through the scanner. And walking through the scanner, you place your bags on the extra machine, which would have the bags being processed through the machine to a conveyor belt, and then the officer standing at the machine would identify whether you're okay to travel or you need to be physically searched. After leaving the extra machine and the body scanner, proceeded to either have a seat, use the washroom, or even venture into reading a book, whatever the case may be, whatever is left to be done.
Minister responsible for SCASPA, Ian Liburd, highlighted the importance of the Bastia Ferry Terminal to commerce and tourism between both islands.
Because the ferry service between St. Kitts and Nevis is so important for businesses, for schools, and for personal travel. Imagine what travel between St. Kitts and Nevis would have been like without these sorts of operations. Because this provides a link, a critical link I should add, in the inter-island transportation structure, which serve more than 140,000 passengers annually.
Meanwhile, a taxi driver who was at the ceremony lauded the construction of the new ferry terminal.
That I would ever see or been in throughout the region. I've visited in the Virgin Islands and all, and many other ports. But I think that we are first class in our departure lounge, our ferry departure lounge. And I just want to commend Mr. Lewis and his hard-working team. I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, that we can take care of this facility. We need to take care of this facility.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The 2017-2018 federal budget is manipulation of figures to give a good impression of the government. So says opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas in his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday in the National Assembly.
The process should never be a mere manipulation of numbers. It cannot be all about arithmetic. Cannot. It is an important policy document that gives sensible and realistic view of the year ahead. And it establishes policies aimed at carrying our country forward. These numbers mean nothing. If the numbers are wrong, then the policies which are based on those numbers would also be wrong and would not work. And that is exactly what we are seeing today. Because we warned last year that the process was wrong. We come back this year, and it's the very same thing that we are seeing, a manipulation of numbers in order to make the government look good, when it does not, in fact, it is not good.
Dr. Douglas was unable to finish his budget presentation after he was denied additional time from the government side in Parliament. He was allotted 2 hours and 36 minutes, the same time it took for Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris to deliver his budget presentation on Wednesday. But when a vote was cast to determine whether he should be granted an extra 15 minutes, as he requested to complete his presentation, the government side voted against. The Speaker, in his discretion, offered him an additional 5 minutes to wrap up, but Dr. Douglas rejected this, saying it was not enough time. The opposition cried foul and said the Speaker was unfair as there were multiple interruptions that bit into the time of his presentation.
Numerous interruptions would come in. I'm sure that the interruption and deliberate interruptions on that side, just to eat into the time of the member speaking. No matter how much, deliberate interruptions, which would cost, I would say, would go for about half an hour or so. And at the end of the day, we have to vote. At the end of the day, we have to vote on this. Highly ridiculous.
Dr. Douglas questioned the credibility of some of the estimates in the budget and said this was a public relations exercise. The opposition leader pointed to what he deemed discrepancies in the budget based on the figures presented by the government regarding economic growth projections compared to information from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and institutions such as the IMF. He said these figures from these entities contrasted the image painted by the government in the budgets.
To manipulate figures and thus mislead what is the true picture that we have in the economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the capital budget has not spared the manipulation and distortion. The government made a strong song and dance about the capital budget, Mr. Speaker, for 2017, which was estimated at some $131.3 million. That is 2017. It is now being projected that capital expenditure will reach some $50.6 million by the end of this fiscal year. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the actual capital expenditure in 2017 will be just over 1/3 of the amount that was deliberately included in the 2017 budget. And the minister must have known that this was unrealistic in his projection.
Other members of Parliament presented for the rest of the day and well into Thursday night after Dr. Douglas's truncated presentation. Henika Watkis-Porto for SKN Newsline.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch our news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today. Come to Caribbean Flavors Restaurant and Bar in Charlestown for the best in local cuisine. Have your food prepared on the spot or served in a buffet-style setting with quality customer service. Get your day started right with our variety of homemade breakfasts. Try our sumptuous lunches, wraps, sandwiches, and so much more. Located at the Cotton Ginnery Mall, Charlestown, Nevis, overlooking the Charlestown Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 469-9009 or 763-5452.
Ladies, want the finest in hair care services? Then come to Diva Hair in Pond Extension, Basse-Terre. We do nails, relaxers, weaves, haircuts, customs wig, color, hair treatment, lashes, and so much more. Our salon is clean and comfortable even while you wait. We take appointments only. Opened on Mondays and Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with the last appointment at 5 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. To make appointments, visit our Facebook page, Diva Hair. Call us at 660-4884. Diva Hair in Pont Extension for the beauty in you.
Limeweger Funeral Home is the most affordable and only all-inclusive funeral home in St. Kitts and Nevis. Their modern facility houses a chapel, a viewing parlor, a repast room, a casket selection room, a print shop, a flower shop, and they offer cremation services. Their very affordable all-inclusive package includes embalming, overnight viewing, chapel services, and recovery after autopsy. For more information, call 466-1225, 662-3118, or visit Limeweger Funeral Home at Limekeel, Basse-Terre, where they offer service with compassion.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. We provide a daily and accurate news on the big stories and stories of interest that other media outlets have ignored. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline, and also subscribe to our SKN Newsline YouTube channel. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're covered when your house gets flooded, getting your settlements quickly and fairly when a fire hits your home, and making sure your business can keep going even after an accident happens on site. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
Limeweger Funeral Home is the most affordable and only all-inclusive funeral home in St. Kitts and Nevis. Their modern facility houses a chapel, a viewing parlor, a repast room, a casket selection room, a print shop, a flower shop, and they offer cremation services. Their very affordable all-inclusive package includes embalming, overnight viewing, chapel services, and recovery after autopsy. For more information, call for 661225, 6623118, or visit Limeweger Funeral Home at Limekeel, Bastaire, where they offer service with compassion.
2017 was a mixed one for the economies in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU, as the progress projected for the year have been reversed by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. So says the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, Timothy Antoine, at the bank's annual staff dinner on Saturday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort.
Until September, our currency union was on pace to deliver in excess of 3% growth. Non-performing loans were trending down, averaging about 11%, and credit to the private sector seems set to return to positive after 5 consecutive years of decline. These welcome developments were rudely and ruthlessly interrupted and reversed by Hurricanes Irma and Maria, two of the most powerful storms to ever be recorded. 5 of our members were impacted: Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, and Dominica. The latter 3 suffered direct hits. As a consequence, our currency union is now projected to grow around 2%, and non-performing loans in the hurricane-impacted countries are expected to rise.
The central bank, he said, rose to the occasion in the aftermath of the storms and offered assistance to the affected countries.
In the immediate aftermath of the storms, I challenge us as a bank to raise our game and coin an expression. Does anyone recall? Spared to serve. Having been spared the worst of these supercharged storms, our bank swung into action, standing in full solidarity and support with our impacted member countries. Given the unprecedented nature of the impacts, we felt that an unprecedented response was required. Consequently, we sought and secured the approval of our board and council to offer grants, not customary loans, to 4 countries: Anguilla, 1 million, Dominica, 1 million, Antigua and Barbuda, 1 million, St. Kitts and Nevis, 250,000. In addition, we also visited and personally delivered supplies to the 3 countries that suffered direct hits. Since then, we have been working assiduously to support our members in practical ways, seen and unseen, including assessment missions, technical advice, and advocacy. Furthermore, I am pleased to note that through our efforts, management and staff, we raised the sum of $16,500, which was matched by the bank to aggregate to $33,000. We are using these funds to procure supplies that will bring some Christmas cheer to children in Anguilla, Barbuda, and Dominica.
The governor commended Dominica in its efforts to become disaster resilient in the aftermath of a direct hit by Hurricane Maria.
But having heard the plans of Dominica at the Pleasure Conference in New York a few weeks ago to become the first climate resilient country in the Caribbean, And having just returned from Anguilla yesterday, DG, myself, and Miklas, the signs are encouraging.
Meanwhile, the governor pointed to some of the highlights of the central bank for 2017, including the launch of the bank's Strategic Plan 2017-2022 and the return to profitability.
For starters, we return to profitability after a 3-year hiatus. A sample of our notable achievements and results include, and I'm going to name them very quickly, launch of our 5-year strategic plan style transforming the ECCB together. Launch of our new website, salary increases, tripling of our budget for staff development and training, filling key vacancies across the bank, increased thresholds for mortgages and education loans, continuation of our country outreach, completion of the first year of our leadership development program, winning the 2017 Best Application of Action Learning Award from the World Institute of Action Learning that was presented in Shanghai in October, and launching of our consultancy for the preparation of our modern human resource strategy.
Saturday night's function continued with awards presentations, namely the Star Awards, an initiative started by the governor since his appointment. Long-serving staff members were also awarded for their loyalty and service. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Caribbean countries should be reducing its carbon footprint and engaging in responsible tourism to battle climate change. So says Mr. Hugh Riley, Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, at the opening of the Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum at Government House earlier this week.
In the Caribbean, we also know that decreasing our dependency on traditional sources of energy and paying serious attention to the use of renewable energy sources is an imperative if we are to stay competitive. So one of the goals of our countries, all of our countries really, has to be to aim to create a carbon neutral environment, a space in which we as a Caribbean region can lead the world in demonstrating how to reduce our carbon footprint. Reducing that carbon footprint doesn't mean stopping the planes from coming. What it does mean is finding creative ways to engage in responsible tourism. This has to be part of the example that the Caribbean sets to the rest of the world to follow.
Mr. Riley said the regional groupings such as the Caribbean Disaster Management Agency, CDMA, should be properly funded in order to support the efforts of Caribbean countries to become disaster resilient. He also posited that the effects of climate change are being felt right now across the region.
But we have to remember that the effects of climate change are being felt right now, today. The only thing futuristic about Hurricanes Irma and Maria is that they could come again. Climate change is something that's happening today.
Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Caroline Henry Morton, said that climate change can have a tremendous impact on tourism, and St. Kitts is doing its part to sustain its tourism product.
Despite what some skeptics may say, there is ample evidence that some tourism-related activity is inexorably linked to climate change. Tourism, therefore, must play an integral role in the global response to climate change, a charge which the St. Kitts Ministry of Tourism takes very seriously.
Mrs. Morton said it is up to citizens individually and collectively to manage tourism responsibly.
Tourism has the power to truly transform economies and livelihoods for the better. Conversely, it can destroy cultures and communities. It is up to us then, individually and collectively, to manage it responsibly so we ensure the former and prevent the latter.
Andre Huey, SKN News. Rams Village Superstars and SL Horse of St. Paul's are the finalists for this year's SKNFA Carnival Cup, scheduled to be played on Sunday at 7 p.m. at the Warner Park. Village marched their way into the finals in impressive fashion after drubbing Saul Island Auto Supply's Connery FC 4-0, while St. Paul's edged Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs 1-0. Keith Roy Freeman of St. Paul's scored in the 19th minute to give his side the win. Coach Austin Huggins of St. Paul's waded in the victory as it continues St. Paul's unbeaten run so far in all matches this season.
the nature of the Garden Hotspurs, the way how they play. They are a good passing team. I ask my guys to be tight in the midfield and to stop them from playing their style of game. And when we do win the ball, catch them with the counter attack. Also to be very strong in defensively. Not only the 3 or 4 men that play defense, but total team effort in terms of getting behind the ball.
What would you credit for the team's undefeated run so far? You haven't lost a match so far in the competition in the league, and now you continue that unbeaten run in the competition.
Believe in yourself and to play hard, total team effort. Yeah, so I think the defensive part of our game, that is what being getting us throughout the years.
Coach Sinclair Morris of Garden Hotspurs said his team would regroup from this loss and prepare for the second round next month.
Motivation, the players didn't have the fighting spirit going into the first half. The start of the second half a little bit better, trying to fight for the ball. We wasn't winning the balls. We were behind. And as I told them halftime, we need to be forced to the ball. As I said, the motivation level, the spirit of the game wasn't really there for the first sport. It's all about preparation for the next round. We just have to put some program together where the players could stay active during the carnival season and also lift up the spirit for going into the next round. Even though we lost, we out of the Carnival Cup. There's other factors in there in terms of we going forward. We still have the Easter Cup and also the Final Four to look forward to.
Village ran rings around Connery in their 4-0 victory with 2 goals each coming from Kimari Rogers in the 21st and 44th minutes and from Javon Amory in the 57th and 87th minutes. Connery never looked dangerous despite having a close chance in the halfway stage of the second half, which was snuffed out by Village defenders. The wingers put a lot of pressure on the Connery defense, with Village looking to extend their lead. The pressure paid off with 4 goals and difficulty for Connery to sustain the pressure. Connery's captain Modusa Howe was sent off after being cautioned twice with yellow cards in the 73rd and 85th minutes, thus giving him an early exit to the shower. Coach Pedro Hazel of Village is not surprised with his team's sharp performance.
This is something we have been working on. We have been doing pretty well in the league thus far, and so we want to cap off this part of the round with the championship. So this is what we expect. We definitely expected it. We have been performing, we have been playing well, and so the victory tonight is what we really wanted.
How important would it be for the team to win the Carnival Cup?
Well, currently we're the league leaders. We're the defending champions for the Carnival Cup, so winning it would be an added bonus for us.
Connery's coach Lester Morris said his team was simply not ready for the competition.
Coming out of the backdrop of our game against KFC Strikers and then having to wait and see what happened, what would have transpired with K-On and the other team was a Newtown game. I don't think the guys really was focused in terms of playing in the Carnival Cup, and as a result it showed up tonight. We just did not prepare well at all.
All eyes will be at the Warner Park this Sunday at 7 p.m. to see who will lift the 2017 SKNFA Carnival Cup. Will Rams Village Superstars make it 2 in a row, or will SL Horse St. Paul's continue their unbeaten run this season? Only time. Supervisor of Elections Wingrove George was arrested on Friday and charged on 2 warrants in the first instance for the offense of misconduct in public office. According to police, arrest is in connection with offenses allegedly committed on February 16th and 17th, 2015, while Mr. George held the public office of Supervisor of Elections. Mr. George was granted on bail in the sum of $50,000, $25,000 on each charge, with 2 sureties. The conditions set by the court are that Mr. George must surrender his travel documents upon bail being granted, must not leave the state until the determination of the matter, and is to report to the Frigate Bay Police Station every Monday and Friday between 6 a.m. and 12 a.m. until the matter is dealt with. Mr. George's arrest has already attracted political commentary from both sides of the political divide. A press statement from the Prime Minister's press secretary suggested that the charges against Mr. George are related to him withholding the results of 2 of the seats the night of the February 16th election, St. Christopher No. 4 and St. Christopher No. 8, both seats now held by the 2 government ministers Lindsey Grant and Eugene Hamilton, respectively. The release indicated that Mr. George halted the announcement of the counts of both seats and did not declare the results until 2 days afterwards. The action prompted rebuke from Caribbean heads of government, including then Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Meanwhile, the opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party claimed on its Facebook page that Mr. George's arrest is political and that the charges against him are not credible. They accused the government of trying to silence Mr. George, who is apparently a critic of the government. Andre Huey, SK movement was re-elected in the Nevis Island Assembly elections, winning 4 seats to the Nevis Reformation Party's NRP 1 seat. The lone seat for the NRP was won by party leader Joseph Parry. Representative for the St. Paul's Parish Nevis 1, the NRP's Roberto Hector, lost his seat to the CCM's Spencer Brand by 11 votes. Here is Supervisor of Elections, Elvin Bailey.
In summary, therefore, the final results of this election held on the 18th day of December 2017, the persons who have been won their seats and will be therefore sitting in the Nevis Island Assembly are the Honorable Mark Brantley, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, the Honorable Spencer Brand, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, the Honorable Joseph Parry. I want to offer my congratulations to all of the winners, and I want to offer my congratulations to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis for a very peaceful election 2017.
At the CCM's party headquarters on Government Road, a sea of blue lights, whistles and glow sticks greeted Premier-elect Mark Brantley, who drove up in his BMW SUV. After greeting supporters, Mr. Brantley addressed the gathering.
As I drove up the road, I saw a sea of blue. Yes, sir. And I did promise you we would have a blue Christmas. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my heart tonight is full. I am absolutely grateful to you for your support. We have created history. Not today, I almost said today, yesterday. Because you went out and voted in overwhelming numbers to deliver a crushing defeat to our opponents. But it was not just a political defeat, it was also a defeat of the negativity and the vitriol and the nastiness. And you have said in your vote that you want a different tone for Nevis, you want a different approach. And so as your new Premier, I want to commit to you that we will govern for all of Nevis. And even for those who on the other side, we said, come over, come over and be a part of building.
He said today has been declared a public holiday.
That today we will have a public holiday, and we ask you to listen out to know where we will motivate from, but certainly we will do something in the rich tradition of the Concerned Citizens Movement.
So the final results are in. Electoral District Number 1, CCM's Spencer Brand amassing 596 votes, defeating the incumbent Roberto Hector 585 votes. In Electoral District Number 2, the incumbent Mark Brantley of the CCM with 1,344 votes over the NRP's Hensley Daniel 1,000 votes. In Nevis 3, CCM newcomer Eric Evelyn replacing the retiring Premier Vance Armory with 761 votes over the NRP's Corey Tyson 233 votes. In Nevis 4, Alexis Jeffers, who will be the new Deputy Premier, registering 833 votes, displacing newcomer Virgil Brown of the NRP 528 votes. And Joseph Parry with 518 votes for the NRP over the CCM's Keith Scarborough with 229 votes in Nevis 5. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Come to Caribbean Flavors Restaurant and Bar in Charlestown for the best in local cuisine. Have your food prepared on the spot or served in a buffet-style setting with quality customer service. Get your day started right with our variety of homemade breakfasts. Try our sumptuous lunches, wraps, sandwiches, and so much more. Located at the Cotton Ginnery Mall, Charlestown, Nevis, overlooking the Charlestown Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 469-9009 or 763-5452. Rams Village superstars are not only top of the SKNFA National Bank Premier League, they are back-to-back champions of the Sugar Mass Cup after they successfully defended their title Sunday night. Village defeated the SL Horsford St. Paul's 1-0 courtesy of a late first-half strike from their red-hot striker Kimari Rogers in the 45th minute. For most of the match, Village pressed St. Paul's and pressured their defense, much like what they did to Connery FC in the semi-finals. That pressure led to a defensive error from St. Paul's, which Kimari pounced on to deliver the winning goal. In the second half, St. Paul's enjoyed much of the attacking opportunities, but squandered those chances with poor shooting. Village also had some chances of their own, but St. Paul's, frustrated by the Village defense and pesky forwards, played a very physical game, much to the displeasure of the Village coaching staff. But according to Village coach Jeffrey Hazel, he expected the physical performance from St. Paul's, but knew his guys were mentally tough to the challenge.
Kudos to the St. Paul's teams first of all. I thought they played a very good game versus us. What made us win the game basically was our mental toughness. Our guys, were under pressure at some points in the game, but we stuck to it, and we were able to be victorious, of course, winning the Carnival Cup.
Yeah, I noticed in the second half, the St. Paul's were very physical. They were trying to get the goal. They were frustrated at some points, and so kind of took out their frustration. How do you guys manage to maintain composure while at the same time trying to play your game?
Well, we understood. We know that was part of their tactic, and so we just wanted our guys, like I said earlier, to stay positive, to stay strong mentally, and of course we would overcome, and that is what our guys did. Kudos to them. They played very well this evening. They stuck to the task, and of course, we were able to be victorious.
How important is this title to the Village team and to the community in general?
Well, all titles are important, and so this is the first of the year. Last year we won 2 of them, and we want to continue, winning as much as we can. So that is the objective for this season, and so we will see what happens next year in the second round, and try as much as possible to qualify for the Easter Cup, and then we'll take it from there.
The defeat is the first of the season for St. Paul's in all matches, having an unbeaten run in the Premier League. Coach Austin Huggins believes his team's downfall Sunday night was their poor effort at goal and the defensive error that eventually cost them the game.
I thought that the team played well, but we made a defensive error in the first half that caused us a goal, and we came out and we had to dig extra deep. But all in all, I think the game was a good game, and we had many chances to capitalize, but I think because maybe the players was trying to get the goal, they was overzealous, and that prevented us from getting the goal into the back of the net. Composure was not there. Techniques and sound was kind of poor in terms of finishing, but nevertheless, congratulations to the Village superstars.
Meanwhile, Village's red-hot scoring striker Kimari Rogers is basking in the moment of glory and wants to continue scoring his team's way to the National Bank Premier League. Rogers won the Golden Boot last season and wants to continue that run this season.
I feel pleased and happy for the team. I just see we have a lot of youngsters in the team, and I just tell them I'm going to give them this one to make them enjoy the carnival.
Now you're having a great season so far. What would you put that down to?
Well, hard work and extra finishing. Last year, as we know, I won the Golden Boot, but this year I'm focusing on winning the games and just winning trophies.
Right. Walk us through the goal that you scored tonight.
Well, as the coach told us how he press when the defenders have the ball, because we all know that they're not comfortable on the ball, and I saw the opportunity, I took it, win the ball, and I scored.
The league now enters into the Christmas break as teams unwind and get ready for round 2, which begins in January. In the meantime, Village won the first cup for the season, the 2017 Sugar Mass Cup. Congratulations to the players, coaches and fans of the Rams Village Superstars FC.
Ladies, want the finest in hair care services? Then come to Diva Hair in Pond Extension, Basse-Terre. We do nails, relaxers, weaves, haircuts, customs wig, color, hair treatment, lashes, and so much more. Our salon is clean and comfortable even while you wait. We take appointments only. Opened on Mondays and Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with the last appointment at 5 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. To make appointments, visit our Facebook page, Diva Hair. Call us at 660-4884. Diva Hair in Pond Extension, for the beauty in you.
Only 10 of the scheduled 12 cruise ships called in St. Kitts on Monday, December 25th, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, the 26th. Information from the St. Kitts Tourism Authority said 2 ships on each day had cancelled, but gave no reasons why. The total ship capacity expected on both days would have been about 15,000, according to the Tourism Authority. Nevertheless, Tourism Minister Lindsay Grant was still upbeat about the cruise proceedings on Christmas Day, as seen by this promotional video sent out by the St. Kitts Tourism Authority.
This is indeed a perfect way to end an unparalleled year of new heights in our tourism industry. This trend of remarkable growth will only continue if we all do everything in our power to ensure a welcoming, memorable, and enjoyable experience to each cruise passenger.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Come to Caribbean Flavors Restaurant and Bar in Charlestown for the best in local cuisine. Have your food prepared on the spot or served in a buffet-style setting with quality customer service. Get your day started right with our variety of homemade breakfasts. Try our sumptuous lunches, wraps, sandwiches, and so much more. Located at the Cotton Ginnery Mall, Charlestown, Nevis, overlooking the Charlestown Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 469-9009 or 763-5452. Jamaican dancehall artist Spice, American music legend Patti LaBelle, and Grammy Award-winning Lauryn Hill have been announced as the first slew of artists for the 2018 St. Kitts Music Festival. Chairman of the Artist Selection Committee, Jonelle Powell, announced the first wave of artists at a media event this past week. Spice is considered one of the hottest Caribbean dancehall performers gracing the stage in this era, but she might not be for everyone, although the young festival fans will love her. Her eye-popping lyrics and head-turning dance move, she's definitely on the edge. Then there's Lauryn Hill, an American singer, songwriter, rapper, record producer, and actress. Perhaps she's best noted for the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And as classic as performers might get, the name of Patti LaBelle was also announced. She's noted for her sweet soul melodies, expressive tones, and mind-capturing emotions in her songs like On My Own. She's a versatile artist with hits in gospel, R&B, jazz, funk, and soul. Chairman of the Artist Selection Committee, Jonelle Powell, is inviting the public to participate in the artist selection process by using social media to say who should perform at the 2018 Music Festival. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The director and staff of Mackie Hazen Memorial Funeral Home offers quality service and satisfaction guaranteed. Serving our clients with respect, dignity, and sensitivity, Mackie Hazen Memorial Funeral Home makes planning look so easy. With over 20 years experience in the funeral business, Mackie Hazen Memorial Funeral Home provides top quality service which is sure to give you, our valued customers, that guaranteed satisfaction. Visit us today at Church Street or call us at...
The cabinet for the Nevis Island administration was sworn in on Christmas Eve. Premier Mark Bransley has the lion's share of the portfolios, but will be sharing the burden with two junior ministers. Premier Bransley will be responsible for the Ministries of Finance, Statistics, Economic Planning, Education, Library Services, Human Resources, Industry, Trade and Consumer Affairs, Health, Tourism and Information Technology, Public Utility and Energy, and Foreign Investments. Deputy Premier Alexis Jeffers will be hold on to the most of the ministries he had in the previous administration, except Public Works. He will be in charge of Agriculture, Lands, Housing, Cooperatives and Fisheries, Natural Resources and Disaster Management. Newcomer Eric Evelyn, who served as Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, will serve as Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, Community Development, Telecommunication and Information. Another newcomer, Spencer Brands, will be Minister of Labour, Public Works, Physical Planning, Coast and the Environment. Troy Lyabird, who was a junior minister in the previous administration, will be junior minister in Premier's ministry, responsible for education, library services and information technology. Another junior minister from the Van Samri-led NIA, Hazel Brandy Williams, will also be junior minister in the Premier's ministry responsible for health and gender affairs. Premier Bransley, in his inauguration address, called for the continued close relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis and to work closely with Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris.
We must continue on our path of unity with St. Kitts. Our country, for the first time in its history, has a real chance to function as a true nation, where the talents of all are recognized and pressed into service to build a better St. Kitts and Nevis. The little boy from Cox must be treated no differently than the little boy from Keon. The little girl from Molyneux and the little girl from Matchman's Road must not have their ambitions and aspirations stifled by virtue of the accidental place of their birth. We must continue to see this as our country, comprised of 2 islands, but nevertheless belonging to all of us. None of our citizenry must be denied the full fruits of their citizenship.
The Premier also promised to see to the passage of freedom of information legislation, a closer relationship with the Church, and the regular meetings in the Nevis Island Assembly.
That our government functions in a more transparent manner, and that the necessary checks and balances are in place to ensure that this government works for you and not for its members. To this end, we shall in short order operationalize integrity in public life legislation and pass freedom of information legislation to ensure that those whom we have elected to serve remember and remain true to their purpose and their oaths. We must listen and provide the necessary fora where our people can speak to us often. I know there's great wisdom in the hearts and minds of the Nevisian people, and I intend to take guidance from you at every turn. The Nevis Island Assembly must function as it is intended to, and we shall have meetings there at least once every 2 months as we roll out our legislative agenda. We look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to a lasting and close relationship with the Church. There is no lasting development without Christ, and our churches must be asked to keep us in constant prayer and to place our island and her leadership before God without ceasing. We promise a new Nevis, where our families, communities, our churches, and our government can all sing the same hymn from the same pew and work collectively to build a better Nevis for all.
Premier Brantley extended an olive branch to the lone NRP elected representative in the Nevis Island Assembly, Joseph Parry, and supporters of the opposition in the governance of Nevis. I am Chantel Rochester for SKN Newsline.
Limeweger Funeral Home is the most affordable and only all-inclusive funeral home in St. Kitts and Nevis. Their modern facility houses a chapel, a viewing parlor, a repast room, a casket selection room, a print shop, a flower shop, and they offer cremation services. Their very affordable all-inclusive package includes embalming, overnight viewing, chapel services, and recovery after autopsy. For more information, call 466-1225, 662-3118, or visit Limeweger Funeral Home at Limekeel, Bastair, where they offer service with compassion.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris is alluding to the huge victory for the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, in Nevis as a vote for the Team Unity administration on a federal level. Prime Minister Harris was addressing the gathering at the inauguration of the cabinet of the Nevis Island administration on Christmas Eve at the El Camino Willett Park in Charlestown, Nevis.
What is the real truth out there? And the people of Nevis sent a clear message where the country stands at this time of the year. And it was a beautiful message that ricochets in St. Kitts and ricochets all over the world. That the unity, call it what you will, the unity creation of the people is stronger than ever going forward.
Prior to the Nevis Island elections, Barbados-based political analyst Peter Wickham had reasoned that the election would have been a litmus test for the performance of Team Unity.
I believe that Timothy Harris and the Team Unity has an investment in this election in Nevis. And certainly if it goes anywhere other than toward the CCM, I believe it will be a slap in the face to the entire project that they're being pursuing. Yeah.
The Prime Minister lauded the role of the CCM and the Team Unity administration and thanked its supporters for re-electing the party.
You have shown the world that the people well informed can distinguish between noise and substance. And just as you have done, we will do in 2020. Distinguish again noise from substance. Congratulations for choosing substance. Congratulations from the bottom of my heart for creating stability, because stability is critical for the ongoing trust and development, not just of Nevis, but of St. Christopher and Nevis. Thank you. You had a choice, and you chose wisely.
Interestingly, the Prime Minister, in reference to term limits for Prime Ministers, suggested that he will step aside as leader of Team Unity in 2025.
Easy for me to buy in to the notion 2 terms and go. 2 terms and other opportunities for service. So I am looking forward for 2025 or somewhere there when I shall withdraw so that others may move forward.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Come to Caribbean Flavors Restaurant and Bar in Charlestown for the best in local cuisine. Have your food prepared on the spot or served in a buffet-style setting with quality customer service. Get your day started right with our variety of homemade breakfasts. Try our sumptuous lunches, wraps, sandwiches, and so much more. Located at the Cotton Ginnery Mall, Charlestown, Nevis, overlooking the Charlestown Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 469-9009 or 763-5452. Miss French Saint-Martin, Tatiana Clifton, is the 2017 Haynes-Smith Miss Caribbean Talented Teen Queen after amassing 464 points in the pageant on Saturday night. Held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort for the first time as part of a rebranding effort by the committee, the pageant was dominated with portrayals of Hurricane Irma in talent and theatrical appearance segments, as some of the contestants were from islands ravaged by the hurricane. Miss Saint-Martin also won Best Evening Wear with 67 points, wearing a green dress with leaf designs depicting growth and renewal of her island in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. The Queen also won Best Theatrical Appearance with 124 points, also a depiction of Hurricane Irma, this time as the French Queen Marie Antoinette, lamenting on the travails of Hurricane Irma but expressing confidence of renewal. Tatiana narrowly defeated Miss Anguilla Destiny Bryan, who finished first runner-up with 461.5 points. Destiny won Best Talent with 221 points for her portrayal of a kidnapped girl seeking to break free from physical and emotional turmoil. Miss Barbados Megan Green finished second runner-up with 439 points. The newly crowned Queen, Tatiana Clifton, was elated with her win and see it as a victory for her island in the midst of the destruction from Hurricane Irma.
I am really excited. I'm really happy, only because my message was St. Martin will smile again, and I know St. Martin is smiling. One thing I can say, I know that I am a conqueror. I use my platform through social media, seeing that I moved away for educational reasons.
It was a moral victory too for Tatiana, as she had to evacuate from the island in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma to continue her education. Her chaperone, Carlicia Phillips, said it was Tatiana's determination why she was even competing, considering the challenges to prepare for the pageant in the midst of the hurricane devastation of Saint-Martin.
This one was a tough one, as Tatiana portrayed throughout the whole night about Hurricane Irma. She had to evacuate out of the island to further her education. Her home were damaged, everything. So it was a bit difficult for us to prepare for this pageant because she was off island at the time. She came in, I would say, a week and a half before the show, so it was a lot of cramming, but she was very determined. She was like, I have to do this, I want to do this. At one point it was like, I think maybe we should just sit it out for this year because things is going all crazy. But she was like, no, we got this, we're gonna do this, and she wanted it and she got it, and I couldn't be more happy. Now I can't even catch my breath.
Miss St. Lucia, Kathlina Lawrence, won the Best Interview segment with 90 points.
Explain how pageants can positively impact women and girls.
Growing up, I was always a shy and timid person. However, having entered the Queen of Grizzly pageant this last August, I was able to overcome that challenge and become a more outspoken person. So I think that having entered this pageant and having developed myself personally through the Queen of Grizzly pageant, the stigma attached to pageantry is false. Being in a pageant does help your personal development, and I think that all women and girls should release the stigma attached to pageantry and look at it as a doorway, an opening to express yourself, to become more confident, as an opening to show your talent and to show the world that women are not just idols or models or people who look good. We are confident, we are strong, and we are independent.
The pageant was keenly contested as the 6 contestants showed poise, grace, and exceptional talent. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Antonio Maynard, was pleased with the outcome of the 38th edition of the pageant, held for the first time outside Carnival Village.
I think change was a good one. It was a marketing strategy that we came here and it worked. Everybody loved the change, and this pageant remains the most prestigious pageant in the entire Caribbean. We lived up to the expectation and reputation of this great show. 38 years. 38 years. And we have worked hard over those years to maintain a particular standard.
The talent pieces were enthralling. Miss St. Kitts' 16-year-old Alicia Barry sang the song Beautiful, expressing the importance of self-esteem. Miss Antigua and Barbuda 17-year-old Zaria Bidu performed the song Rise Again in tribute to the hurricane-ravaged sister island Barbuda. Kathlina Lawrence of St. Lucia did a talent piece entitled Resurrection of One Beat, playing the steel pan to highlight the significance of supporting the performing arts. Miss Samantan portrayed Hurricane Irma destroying the island, and Miss Barbados Megan Green did the song Rise Up to portray the effects of bullying on persons with disability. Due to circumstances beyond her control, Miss Guyana was unable to attend the pageant.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like your boat when you're at sea and you get away from everything. Your home and the security of your daughter's things. And the car that you've had for too long, but after all these years, you just can't let go. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
With the crushing defeat of the Nevis Reformation Party NRP at the December 18 polls, and after suffering back-to-back election defeats, the future of NRP leader Joseph Parry is in question. Will he continue as party leader, or will he hand over leadership to someone else? Rumors were rife last week that he will be stepping down as leader of the party, but a Win FM report quoted Mr. Parry as saying he had not resigned, and when he makes a decision, he would notify the media. In an interview with SK Newsline during the election, Mr. Parry suggested that his party has a succession plan.
I mean, this is why young people are coming into the party. We are trying to bring women and young men into the party. And we train them, we expose them to leadership. So when I decide to go, or if I drop dead or whatever happens to me, the party keeps going. That is what succession plan is about. Succession plan is not just about changing the leadership.
Political analyst Peter Wickham, prior to the elections, said he believes Parry should step down.
I believe that Mr. Parry has done well. He's become premier. He was in the vineyard for a long time, and he too may want, with Dr. Douglas, to consider whether a future outside of politics in a supporting role might not give the young, vibrant NRP leadership the opportunity to come to the fore.
In October, long-serving leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, Vance Amory, officially handed over the leadership of the party to his deputy, Mark Brantley, after being at the helm for some 30 years. But according to Mr. Parry, Mr. Amory was forced out of his party. He said the same won't happen to him.
CCM didn't have a succession plan. So when you say if there's a succession plan as well, what was the succession plan? They had a coup. A coup is not a succession plan. Mr. Amory was ousted out of his own party. He was the last of the founding member of that party. There is no founding member in that party now. If you go and ask the friends of Mr. Amory, they'll tell you it was a coup. So I don't think there is any comparison, and let us not pretend that there is a comparison. We have had proper elections. They have never had proper elections. There is absolutely no comparison. I have always exposed my people to leadership. We lead, we produce. If you look at me as a minister or you look at me as premier, you can see my production. You can't see any production for Mr. Emery. You can't see any production for Mr. Brantley. So you can't make a comparison. There's no comparison.
Mr. Parry became the lone elected member of the NRP, with the CCM winning 4 of the 5 seats in the Nevis Island Assembly election. Only time will tell if he will relinquish his post or hold on for some more time. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.